Well, here they are again, sneaking up on us. Student-produced Comm Chat. I'm Ralph Merkel.
I'm Mary Ashlock.
And joining us today, Dr. Greg Leichty. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. This is
here
a new
we
experience for me, so.
Well, talking to us, come on. You talk to us all the time.
It's
But
Comm Chat.
and the only difference is students are producing this. Thank you, Joe and Melissa,
Yes.
DJ up in Master Control, and
Yeah.
we beam this out to the world. It's
Yes.
watched in Malaysia, in the South Pole, but regardless, they want to know what is new in the communication department. And one of the reasons why we thought we would ask you here today, Dr. Leichty, is our comm graduates are rock stars for further studies and in jobs. And can you give us the skinny on how some of them are doing and where they're landing post-grad?
Well, I just had someone say to me, you know, it's kind of difficult for communication graduate students right now, as I think it is just because of the economy. But we're doing interesting things here, and we have some students doing some very interesting things in areas that you might not even expect. For instance, Richard Slawski is, he finished his undergraduate degree here in 2010, and he's now working on his master's degree. But during this period, he's picked up, he's working full-time as a freelance journalist for the petroleum industry. A variety of people that are inquiring about our graduates. In fact, Lauren Hendricks, who just graduated, she's working on her master's degree now too, finishing up, but she was a graduate in our program 2 years ago. We now have organizations that are seeking out some of our students for jobs as community organizers. I don't know if this leads to presidential politics or not.
Well, it certainly can't it?
Yes.
But there's a group called DART that that goes about soliciting people to go through training for community organizers. And each of the last couple of years, I've gotten notes toward the end of the semester asking if we have students that we can recommend.
We've had grad students going on to further glory at other institutions.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about some of those.
Remember we were talking about recently, Raisa Jones is, oh my goodness, she's been offered several full rides, as we call it, for her doctoral programs. 3, as in 3 several. And she is probably going to go to the University of Texas. We'll see. So that's from our master's program coming here. So we have our, these undergraduates going and doing different things and following our graduate school path, and then we have our graduate students going on into businesses, organizations, and certainly on to PhDs.
And I have 2 former students who I can report both been accepted into the master's program at Medill, the journalism school at Northwestern University. Lindsay Gilpin and Connor Forrest, who are both going to start in the fall, and Roger Burdell from this past year was in Bedill's graduate journalism program.
And then, in fact, it goes back further than that, because 5 or 6 years ago, I can still remember a couple of Northwestern has taken a number of our graduates over there in the Medill program.
And it is important for people to realize that we have much to offer here. Our students are obviously academically prepared, as well as you said, Greg, the extracurricular things they're doing, be it study abroad or internships. So
if I'm a freshman in comm and I'm watching Comm Chat like all students at the University of Louisville
at 2 in the morning, perhaps.
or whenever, and in their underwear if they so desire, what would your suggestions be about an academic path towards career in communications, or is it just so broad I've asked the hardest question in the world, or the question with the 1-hour answer?
Well, I think there are a couple different components to that. There's the academic side, and then there is the community involvement, internship, student organization side. And I think that one of the things that I always insisted with my own daughters was, I said, the most important learning in going to college, as opposed to taking classes, is what you're doing in the community and what you're doing and the relationships that you're building. It's a time of self-discovery, and I think taking the time and effort to engage in self-discovery, to discover, I mean, people coming to the university don't know what choices they should make. So you have to try out a number of things. And sometimes people come to me and they say, you know, I made some mistakes and I tried this and that didn't work, and I tried this and that didn't work. And I say, well, that's not a mistake at all. That's called learning.
Yeah.
Because that's learning who you are.
Right.
Sometimes learning who we are is, well, I'm not this. I don't want to do this. This is not consistent with my personality. And maybe you go through a couple things before you find something that you really love. But that's not failure on your part. If you changed majors a couple times or changed emphases a couple times, that's not a failure. That's just a part of the process of self-discovery, of adjusting yourself to, you know, finding the things that you like to do. And you can't do that without a little bit of trial and error.
Mm-hmm. And in communication, you may be piecing those things together and you're putting them together for whatever.
I mean, one thing you shouldn't do is just choose classes and choose activities on the basis of how convenient it is for your schedule.
Right, like
sometimes
Sometimes
you have to, sometimes you're going to have to make some sacrifices in certain areas to find things that and you're going to end up doing some things that are going to stretch you a little bit.
Right. You know, speaking of stress, they are wrapping us, and I know these kids are, you know, you give them a camera, you give them a switcher, they get so bossy. That is all the time. And by the way, Comm Chat 18, we've done 18 of these.
We're vintage.
We thank you, Dr. Greg Leichty. I'm Ralph Merkel.
I'm Mary Ashlock.
We'll see you next time.